Hello, everyone. So I'm here today with another beautiful Black woman in business who has agreed to come and share her entrepreneur journey with us and tell us about her business. So we will begin with allowing her, TieSha, to introduce herself and to tell us what her business is about. Welcome,
Hi,
TieSha.
Lynette. Thank
Hi.
you. So my name is TieSha Carter. As Lynette mentioned, I am the owner of Jax Carter's Designs, which is a handmade jewelry business. I am based out of the Maryland, DC, Virginia area. And so that is what my business does. We make jewelry, earrings, necklaces, bracelets. Right now, just for women. Possibly in the future, we'll expand to men's jewelry as well.
Oh, beautiful. So, TieSha, how long have you been in business?
So I actually launched my business in 2021. So the end of 2021, I launched it as an Etsy shop. And then in May of 2022, I actually decided to transition off of the Etsy platform and build my own brand. So I moved to my own website and basically launched Jax Carter Designs officially in May of 2022. So that's been what, a year, almost a year and a
Yes,
half that I've been in
yes.
business. So
Beautiful,
I'm new to the
beautiful.
game.
Wonderful. We love to see that. So tell us a little bit about your business journey. What led you to starting your business? Were you kind of creating, I'm sure you were creating jewelry before you joined Etsy. And what led you to move from Etsy to your own platform?
Yeah, so my business actually started on a whim. It was actually part of a journey that I went through as I was dealing with anxiety and depression and panic disorder. And so I started taking Michael's classes. They offered, different classes for painting, jewelry making, and things like that as just kind of a way to get away and step away and find like a place where I can have some quiet time to to focus my energy as I was trying to deal with the mental health issues that I was going through. So honestly, my business actually started as a hobby,
Okay.
and then it transitioned into a business, really with the encouragement from my family. So I have a 8-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son, and I'm married. And my daughter would come in to my little work area that I have now, and she'd be like, "Oh, mommy, this is nice. Are you going to sell it?" And I'm like, no, I'm just doing this for fun." And then, my husband started coming in and making comments about the pieces I was making. And then when my mom would come over, she would come in and make, comments on the pieces that I was making as well. And so they kind of gave me the encouragement to just kind of go for it. And so for me, Etsy was, from what I knew, the easiest platform to kind of get started on, like easy setup. Good instructions, and then they had so many people out there that had Etsy shops that, like, if you watch their videos, they had, like, a coupon code, for you to be able to create X number of listings for free, and so that's kinda how I got started on Etsy, but once I started to get more comfortable with the platform, I realized it was oversaturated. So
Mm,
you go on Etsy, and it's thousands of people that are selling jewelry, and so
hmm.
it's hard for you to be able to market yourself among a sea of other people that are doing something similar as you. And so at that point, when I wasn't seeing the sales kind of pick up like I expected it to on Etsy, I decided to just go off of my own platform. And then that way I would know when people went to search for me, they were only going to find me. And
Right.
so trying to eliminate some of the competition that was in the market by being in Etsy.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. I love that. You gave us a couple of great jewels right there. I love that you started your business or you started your hobby as a answer to or a method of mental wellness. I think that's very important because I'm a big, huge, huge advocate of mental wellness, of us taking care of ourselves and our mental health and our emotional health. So I love that you share that you found a way to do that through being creative. just taking classes for your own well-being. And then that led to others letting you know that your creativity was really powerful. It was something that you could sell, and you went on that. And I love the business information you gave us about the marketplace on Etsy. Being able to look at it and see, okay, this is just oversaturated. It's not that this business won't work. I just need to move it to my own platform so that it's not so I'm not, competing with 1,000 other, like
Right.
companies. That's a great, great business idea because I know a lot of people just starting out really don't know how to approach the process. So I think that
Mhm.
would help a lot of people realize, okay, because I'm not getting a lot of traction here or wherever they may be, doesn't mean that I can't move it to a different platform and get more traction. So
Yes,
that is
absolutely,
beautiful.
absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a good start, if
Right.
you're a beginner just trying to get into selling in general. I mean, you learn lessons from being on there as well, but the focus, if you're really trying to focus on building a unique brand, definitely branching off to something on your own outside of a huge marketplace is the best bet.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So what would you say was your greatest challenge in getting your business going?
Really knowing what to do. Not having the education. I
Got
don't
you.
have a business background. I'm a systems engineer. That's my day job. So I
Ah,
actually run my business on the side. I
okay.
go into the office 3 days a week and I design computer systems. So I have no
Wow.
idea about business administration, running a
Uh-huh.
business, or anything like that. So I think one of the biggest challenges with starting the business was kind of where to start. So Etsy was an easy thing because you could, jump on YouTube and find videos. But when I
Yes.
decided to move off of that platform, it was the where do I go from here? What's the best platform? Wix versus Shopify? What do I need to register for? Can I just run my business without like actually signing up as a LLC or sole proprietorship? Just not knowing the
Right.
business aspect of things and kinda just jumping out there was the challenge that I had at the beginning.
Oh, that's beautiful. But I love that you jumped out there because a lot of us, when we start in a business or we have this great idea or something we want to get out there, sometimes we overthink the process. I don't know this, I don't know that. I have no idea what it takes. Let me wait till I learn all that information
Yeah.
before I get started. And then 10 years later, we have never
You
gotten
never
started.
do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that you, even with the awareness of I don't know, all this business stuff, I'm going to find out bits and pieces and just get going. I'm going to find
Right.
out the easiest platform I can think of, Etsy, and gets going on there because even that process, I'm sure, helped you to put certain things in place. It helped you to,
Mhm.
define your name, define what type of business you were going to have, and
Yeah.
just get things in place for a business so that when you were ready to move it to a different platform, you had that groundwork done.
Right. Yep,
So
exactly.
what was your process? I'm interested to know in learning about business or how should you form an LLC? What did you do your research to get those answers for yourself?
Yeah, so I always say, and I even say this in the office, Google is my best friend.
Yes,
So
mine too.
if I ever have a question, I always go to Google. But definitely I kind of looked into, so in the state of Maryland, they have a small business administration.
uh,
And so I went there initially and looked at the resources that they had there as far as whether or not I needed to um, make my business a formal business. And so they had, workshops and things you can sign up for, which weren't necessarily conducive to my schedule, but they also had a lot of documentation and they have questionnaires that you can answer to let you know whether you should go ahead and sign up for like a legal entity for your business or if it's okay to not have one depending on what type of business you have. They also had advice from a financial perspective as far as if you are going to start a business, kind of separating your business as a LLC from your personal so that when you start filing taxes, your business liability is different than your personal liability as well. So I definitely started with the Small Business Administration, and then being on social media, you would come across ads and things like that for different workshops. And so I came across a couple of ads for a few workshops that were reasonably priced. That I jumped into that were for handmade businesses or small businesses, and they
Okay.
were self-paced workshops that you can take the modules on your own time, or you can participate in like live Facebook group chats or Zoom chats. And so I learned a lot of information from those workshops as well.
Okay, great. So the SBA, then workshops, and then Google.
Hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful. Today in today's economy, Black women-owned businesses is the fastest and the largest growing sector of new small businesses in the country. And I firmly believe that one of those reasons is because we figure out a way to be resourceful. We don't
Hmm.
always have, that business, training or education, but we figure out a way to get the information we need to get something going. So,
Yep.
and that's one of the primary businesses why I want to do this podcast, because I know a lot of us are out there without all the answers,
Hmm.
being lost or thinking, because I had this mistake or I had this challenge, maybe that means that I should just stop the business. But I want us to find the resources and the information and the inspiration to just continue going, to know that, yeah, you're going to have some failures, you're going to have some challenges, but that doesn't mean you should quit. Just keep going, because a lot of us have been where you are, and just keep going and you'll find
Yeah.
success. So I love, how your journey transpired. And until today, I still use Google for a lot of information. It is so quick and easy.
Absolutely. Google and YouTube
Yes, yes,
are my
exactly.
go-tos when I have a quick question. But that's definitely a good point that you made, because even being on the business journey for a year and a half, like I've had days where I felt like, maybe this isn't what I should be doing. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this anymore. Maybe I should go back to just having it as a hobby and not as a business. But then I just have to remind myself, there's a lesson in everything, and just kind of take the punches as they go, learn
Right.
from your mistakes, and kind of keep moving forward. And if it's a time for the door to close, I feel like you will really know that it's time to close the door, but just kind of hanging in there.
Got you. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, did you have any entrepreneurs in your family or any business mentors in your process besides the resources you found to utilize?
Yeah, so my mom, she is a serial entrepreneur.
Oh,
Probably gonna yell at me when she hears this, but she actually, she's into fashion, and so
okay,
she always, did things having to do with, she had owned a consignment shop. She had a personal styling business, and now she actually has a notary business as well. And
okay.
so, I've had my lessons learned from her. I've gone to her with her vending events,
Yes.
participated in like fashion shows that she's done. So
Uh-huh.
I was able to kind of watch her and learn from her. And even now, when I have things that I go to, vending events, or like I just did New York Fashion Week in September, I call her my momager, or my assistant, because she goes along with me, and she gives me, just her words of wisdom as I'm going through things, and her advice, and so I'm able to kind of lean on her as well, just from her personal experience and being an entrepreneur.
Beautiful, beautiful. So tell me, how was New York Fashion Week for you? Was
It
this your
was
largest event to date? Or
Yes, yes,
oh,
yes,
wonderful.
yes. This was my I did Miami Swim Week in July,
Okay.
which was a little bit smaller in Miami,
Mhm.
Florida. But New York Fashion Week, definitely, it was a overwhelming experience. But it was
Beautiful.
great, like, I
Yes.
just felt so much like I was in my element, like, this
Ah,
is what I am born to do,
beautiful.
and so it was an awesome experience, and what they do with accessory designers is they actually pair you with a clothing designer. And so I was
Oh,
fortunate to work with an awesome designer from Houston, Texas, African American young man, and it was a great collaboration. The show went well, had good press from that. So it was an awesome experience. It definitely was
great,
an awesome experience.
great, wonderful, wonderful. And how many pieces did you do for that event?
So for that event, I had a total of about 15 to 20 pieces.
Okay,
In my collection that I showed. And I worked on the collection, earlier in the year to work up towards August when we had to turn in kind of our final collection with us. And I have a
gotcha.
couple of pieces actually that I've just highlighted on my website that are from the runway collection
Okay,
that I did in New York.
wonderful, wonderful. So I find it very interesting that because I had to look at your website and I look at your post on Instagram, and your work is so beautiful.
Thank
So I
you.
find it so interesting that you just started doing this so recently. It's like you had this, and I think that's like a great testimony to
Mm,
people who are just getting started in something that you don't have to start when you excuse me, because a lot of people, they start at a younger age knowing they're interested in something.
right.
But some of us start at a later age knowing that we're interested in something. So I think that's a great testimony. It reminds me of Misty Copeland, the ballerina,
Mhm.
who said she started dancing late at a later age when most girls start, really young taking classes. But I love that testimony that within the last couple of years you started doing this. But what's your website address?
It's www.jax, Jacx, cdesigns.com is my
Okay,
website.
okay.
Yeah, and my
So I want
Instagram is at yeah,
go
my
ahead.
Instagram is at Jax Carter Designs.
Okay, great. So I asked you that because I want our listeners to go on and look at your work and see how beautiful it is and
Oh,
realize
thank
that
you so much.
you just did that in the last couple of years. This wasn't a
Yeah.
forever process, but in the last couple of years, you've been able to cultivate that creativity and make some beautiful pieces. So
Thank you so
I love
much.
that.
Yes, I mean, one big, well, not really secret, but thing that people don't know about me. So I've always like had a passion in the creative arts.
Uh-huh.
So I've done photography, I paint.
Uh-huh.
I'm that DIY mom who,
Right.
put together nightstands and painted them and embellished them for my children.
Oh,
But art has always been that's not a lucrative career.
right.
You need to get you a good job that's gonna pay
Right.
that's gonna pay you some money. And so that's how I drifted into computer science, as my field of study when I went to school. But I always dabbled in different types of creative arts, or arts and craft types of activities. But I definitely felt like with the jewelry, like it just came naturally. Like I tell people,
Yes.
I rarely draw anything.
Uh-huh.
Um, I literally will just pull things out and lay them out on the table and just kind of rearrange and kind of see, you know, what it looks like and how I feel about it. And I'm like, okay, this is it. So it's just something that it just clicked. Like it just
Right.
clicked for me and it just came naturally for me.
What right. And it's beautiful that it was also a healing process for you. That it was
Yeah.
expressing that was healing for you. So I love that. I love that. Okay. So what would you say looking at being an entrepreneur? Could you share with us what do you feel is the best thing about being an entrepreneur and what do you feel is the least favorite thing about being an entrepreneur?
So the least favorite thing for me is all the behind the scenes stuff. So the finances, the marketing,
Yes,
the social media management. Like, as an
yes,
entrepreneur, I just wanna go and do my craft and enjoy my craft. I just wanna
right.
sit all day and create pieces. I don't wanna have to deal with the business aspect of things, and so I
Got
feel
you.
like, for me, the business aspect of things, I would say, are the least pleasant part of being an entrepreneur. And I know it'll get easier right now. I'm not in a place where I'm able to hire, a team to be able to help with some of those
Right.
gaps. And so that's why it's a little bit of a challenge for me now because I'm trying to essentially do it all, also while
Exactly.
still holding down a job outside of the house. So,
Right.
for me, the business part of the entrepreneurship is the not so pretty, part not so
Got
pretty
you.
part of it.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and to that, I'll also say, I'm sure there's a lot of us that are in that same position because when you start out as a solo entrepreneur, you're doing everything yourself, right? And
Mhm.
you're trying to build up to the place, to your point, where you can afford to bring in professionals to siphon off those other activities so you can concentrate on your main business. And one
Right.
thing that I did and I still do in going through the process of looking at growing my business is I make a list of the professionals that I'm going to utilize to take over certain activities, and I research what that will cost. So
Oh,
I'm doing a
awesome.
future budget for, okay, I need somebody to handle marketing. What would that cost? What would that cost be per month? I need someone to handle doing all the accounting. What would that cost be per month? I need someone to manage my schedule. What would that be per
Mhm.
month? And that just kind of lays a framework when you look at planning your business out, say for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
It kind of eases the pressure because in your
Mhm.
vision you can see where you won't have to be doing everything forever, right?
Yep.
You see, okay, when I grow this big, all right, I won't have to do 10 different things. I just be doing these three. And I
Right.
have other people doing the other seven. Okay, yeah, I can handle that. Yeah, I can see myself doing more of this or handling a larger volume because I won't be doing 10
Mhm.
different things. So
Yep,
that's something that,
exactly.
yeah. So,
I definitely need to do that.
yeah,
That's definitely a good nugget for me because that's something that I need to sit down and do. I think that also would help with, establishing your profit goals too,
yes,
because
yes,
you'll have a picture of how much things will cost to get the help that you need. So that will help to kinda
exactly.
set some profit goals as well.
Right. Great point. Great point. So, what do you love most about being an entrepreneur?
It's freedom for me. I love being able to just get up and spend time on doing something that I love. I'm hoping to get to a point where this can be my full time,
Hmm.
that I'm able to do this every day. And then I also like just being able to be an example for my children.
Yes.
Like I said, I have a 8 and 9-year-old, they'll be 9 and 10 this year, a son and a daughter. And they watch me make things, they watch me post things online. I've recently helped someone out by doing some YouTube tutorial videos. And, I let them see the videos that I do and listen to any interviews and stuff that I do, just to kind of teach them as well that they can turn, anything that they love to do, even if it's just a hobby, into something that they can make a business, and even just showing them what it takes to be a mom and a wife and a employee and a and a
Right.
business owner. So I feel like there's nuggets that they will get just by watching me do what I do every day.
Excuse me. I agree. I think that's very, excuse me, take a sip. I think it's very important to expose the younger generation to the entrepreneur journey because it shows them how what it takes to build a legacy, right?
Mhm.
It shows them what the freedom is. They see what the freedom in being your own boss is.
Mhm.
Excuse me. But yeah, I love
Exactly.
that. Love that. To be an example for them and for them to be able to see the process. So when they grow up and someone's asking them, were there any entrepreneurs in your family? They can say, yeah, my mom. I watched my mom build her business
Mhm.
from the ground up. I watched her work and then do this on the side, you know. So it gives them a different sense, I feel, of what is possible. You know, they
Right,
grow up
exactly.
already with different options in their mind, you know, as
Mhm.
opposed to just working for someone. They can
Mhm.
already feed on having seen it done a different way.
Yeah,
So that
maybe pick it up earlier.
exactly
Instead of
to your
later in
point.
life, kinda
Yeah,
how I did,
yeah,
after
yeah,
already having an established career, so
right.
absolutely. And I also feel like entrepreneurship is a way for you to, share the gifts that God gave you in your own way. So, yes, I go to the office every day, and I'm able to share my gifts there working for someone else, but it's under their terms and under, their vision. And being an entrepreneur, I can do the same thing as far as sharing my gifts, but I can do it in my own way through my
Mm.
own vision. So I like that is one of the biggest aspects I like about entrepreneurship as well.
I love that. I love that. Because one of the things that I think, you know, when you come across people in different professions, one of the things that I think is there are a lot of people who are working in professions that are not in line with what their spirit is and where their heart is and where their biggest talent is, right?
Mhm.
So when you go there and you get these different energies from them, you can tell you're not happy here. You're not
Right.
happy doing this, doesn't even fit your personality, what you're doing here. So, so a lot of times we end up, like you said, taking different paths and doing different things and never stopping to tap into, you know, what the real talent is that we have to give to this world. And I think
Mhm.
a lot of us turn into becoming entrepreneurs because that talent just keeps, you know, knocking to come out. It keeps knocking to be shown, to be expressed. And so
Yeah.
we find a way, some way, like you said, either it's a journey through a hobby, it's a journey through we find it a way to heal ourselves, or somewhere
Mhm.
that interest wants to be let out. So we end up
Absolutely.
letting it out, releasing it. Beautiful. So looking at everything you do, I mean, you're a mom, you're a wife, you um, hold down a job, you own your own business, you know, all that. What do you do? Because I'm also a huge advocate of us taking care of ourselves holistically, so mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically.
Mhm.
What do you do to take care of yourself when you feel like you need to take some time for self care?
Yeah, so I absolutely had to learn self-care the hard way. My body got s and that's kind of what started my journey with anxiety and depression. My body just got to the point where it was like, "You are doing too much. You need to have
Mm.
several seats, and since you're
Uh-huh.
not gonna do it on your own, we're gonna do it for you."
Yes.
And so so throughout that journey of healing, one, my biggest self-care right now is seeing a therapist
Okay.
on a consistent basis. Just
Hmm.
having an outlet, someone to talk to that's gonna listen and be objective, someone to kind of have a safe space to share things with. That's one of the things that I do as part of my self-care.
Beautiful.
I also journal.
Hmm.
So I started doing journaling as part of my therapy journey as well. And so I do that when I'm feeling stressed out, when I'm feeling overwhelmed. I've gotten back into hanging out with some girlfriends. So recently I've gone to, a spa day with the girlfriends.
Uh-huh.
I actually just came back last weekend from a personal staycation, and I
Oh,
literally just went 20 minutes away, but I stayed
uh-huh.
overnight by myself, no husband, no kids.
Oh, beautiful.
Watched TV, ate my
Uh-huh.
favorite meals,
Uh-huh.
went to a paint and sip by myself, and just,
Uh-huh.
took some time to decompress. I go get my nails done. And sometimes I just sit and binge watch my favorite TV show, but I've
Gotcha.
definitely learned to take care of self without feeling guilty.
Ah,
because as being responsible for other people, I know before I used to struggle with feeling guilty about taking the time for myself.
yeah.
But like I said, I realized if I'm not strong, if I'm not cared for, I don't have the energy to care for anybody else. And so I've definitely been working to do a better job at self-care. And like I
Okay.
mentioned earlier, I also like to paint. So sometimes I'll go and just do some painting because arts and crafts are also a self-care thing for me as well.
Got you. Definitely. Oh, that's beautiful. I loved all those options you just gave everyone. That's beautiful. I love that. She went to a staycation by herself.
Yes,
Just did a whole lot
do
of
it.
nothing. Yes, that is so healing. Beautiful. And to your point, if we don't, like, I know I hear a lot of people struggle with the guilt of resting, like when your body
Mm,
tells you it's tired, you should stop and rest. But especially entrepreneurs, we feel like, oh, there's a thousand things I could be doing instead of sitting here, either just relaxing or taking a nap and let me get up and go do something. But to your point, if you don't stop, your body's going to make you stop, right?
oh,
If you
absolutely.
don't listen to those signals and those messages it's sending you, it's going to just shut you down. So, and then
Yeah,
you
and
don't
that's what
have,
happened to me.
yes, yes. But I love all the things you do now to keep your healing going. You take time out by yourself. You know that's important without feeling guilty. You basically fill your cup so you have something to give to others. And you
Mhm.
tend to your mental and emotional wellness. That's very important, very important. So I
Yeah, I
love
had to
that you
learn the
do.
hard way, but I'm here.
Yes, but you learned the
I made it.
lesson. You learned the lesson. Some people have to go through that process over and over and over.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
at time number 10, and they realize, okay, maybe I need to slow down.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear that you learned that lesson. That's beautiful. So looking at your business, where do you see your business in the next 5 years? What is your goal or your dream for where you want to be 5 years from now? Is there any particular event you want to be a part of? Is there any particular profit goal you want? Or what's your
Yeah,
goal?
my biggest goal within the next 5 years is really to, as I mentioned earlier, be able to leave a full-time job working for someone else and be able to make this my everyday career, while being able to continue to sustain the lifestyle that, I currently have with having to take care of a household and taking care of children.
Mm-hmm.
Also being able to afford to have the help in the business areas or even other areas where I'm just not as knowledgeable so I can focus on what I am knowledgeable in. And right now I'm actually working out of the sunroom in my home.
Okay.
So I have to close the doors and all that kind of stuff when people come over. So I would love to be able to just have like a dedicated studio space, even if it's like a single room that, I just rent out somewhere else, but it's just my space that I can kind of go off to. That's not part of my home that I can just kind of focus on the business. So I'm hoping that within the next 5 years that those are things that I'm able to meet.
Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. So being in the this creative industry, have you seen anything change recently or in the last couple of years in your industry since you started your business?
I haven't been in business for a long time. So from my perspective, I haven't seen a whole lot of change. I know the biggest, harp right now is the social media, and being able to market yourself, on social media. And so I know I've been kind of, in the last few months, trying to come up with a strategy on how to kind of rebrand my social media page
Got you.
to be more presentable or not even necessarily presentable, but more marketable
Got it.
because that's what everybody is jumping on. Like, for example, when I've gone to in person events, I got, 100, business cards printed out. But nowadays, people aren't even asking for your business cards anymore. Like they're like, "What's your Instagram handle?" and pulling
Right,
out the cell phones and typing in the Instagram handle. So it's
right.
like even the business card thing is starting to go away
You're
as far
right.
as, being a way to communicate and grow and develop contacts. It's turning into that social media presence
You're right.
that's becoming important for your brand and your business.
Right. That's a very good point. I've seen the business card turn to having a QR code on your business
Mhm.
card where they
I had
scan and
that.
it takes them either to your website or to a landing page, right?
Mhm.
Instead of just having a giving out a card with your information. So yeah, that has really changed for a lot of industries. A lot of
Yeah,
industries.
absolutely.
So in your business journey to date, um, what would you say is something that you learned but you wish you had known when you first got started?
Maybe funding streams.
Okay.
Um, Again, that's one of those pros and cons of just jumping in.
Uh-huh. Right.
Because for me, my business has mostly been funded by my personal, savings paycheck.
Right.
I've gotten one business loan that I've worked with to help, but just afterwards, after the fact, I learned about certain resources like Hello Alice,
Yes.
which does like a lot of grants for small
Mhm.
businesses and entrepreneurs. So I wish I kind of would have maybe done a little bit more research ahead of time about funding opportunities before jumping head on
Uh-huh.
with things, because then that may have saved a little bit more money in my pocket as opposed to, just using my own personal funds to be able to support my business and my business idea. So
Got you. Now, have you utilized, you mentioned you utilized a business loan. Have you utilized grants at all or applied for grants?
I have not utilized them. I have applied. The ones that I have applied to, I haven't been selected as of
Got
yet.
you. Hmm.
But I do keep up with Hello Alice, and see which ones that I would be eligible for. One of the things that I said on my list to do is maybe to find a resource to help with responses for grants,
Got
to
you.
be able to put together a more of a compelling response to be more in the running for selection. But yeah, I definitely still keep up with those things because there's always expenses that are going to come up
Hmm.
that you need help with.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I'm glad that you shared that. Hello, Alice is a very major one for especially for minority women-owned businesses
Mm-hmm.
to go for. So that's a great resource. So yeah, grants, loans, and personal funding. I think most entrepreneur companies run by Black women start with personal funding. Some of us are lucky enough to be able to get investments from family members, but
Mm-hmm.
most of us, I think, it's it's whatever we got in our pockets. We start
Yep.
out that way and move along with it from there.
Yep. Exactly.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, tell us a little more about what you produce in your business. I know you do earrings. What other jewelry do you do?
Yes, I do earrings, I do necklaces, and I do bracelets. I didn't this summer do anklets, but I did the summer before did anklets. And then I'm kind of in the phase where I may be transitioning out necklaces,
Okay.
because they aren't one of our biggest sellers. Like a lot of people draw more towards the earrings and bracelets.
Ah,
So those are kind of the heavier, more popular items that I've noticed. And so some of my necklaces I'm phasing out, or I'll usually send them to I'm part of a group that does press releases. And so they'll borrow the jewelry for photo shoots and stuff like that. So I send a lot of
okay.
necklaces that way. But yeah, I think I'm going to start focusing more on just the earrings and the bracelets. And a lot of stuff that I make, pretty much 95% of the stuff that I make is usually one and done.
Got you.
You may find it in a different color scheme, but very rare that I have more than 2 to 5 of this, like literally same exact
Oh,
item.
wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So when you buy something from you, you almost have an exclusive item,
Yeah, I mean
not
it
something you're
is
gonna see
really.
everywhere. Oh, that's
It
beautiful.
is really.
Do you ever take orders for particular items? Say if someone wants something in a certain color and they say, "Can you make me some gold and black earrings?" Do you do,
Yeah, I've
okay, you
done custom
commission?
items.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done custom items. I've done bracelets that people have wanted to give away as gifts.
Yes.
My mom, she does a lot of custom requests. So I do requests for her. There's some family members that I've done custom items for and a couple of acquaintances that I've done custom things for. It's not something that I do on a regular basis.
Got you.
But if it's for something someone wants it for a special occasion and it's not necessarily, I need it like yesterday, then
Right.
I don't mind.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. Very good to know. Wonderful information. And again, I have to tell my listeners to go check out that website and the Instagram and just see what beautiful items we're really talking about. You would be
Thank you so
amazed.
much.
They would be amazed. Okay, so to close out, before we close out, I want to ask you a couple of fun questions. I call them fun
Okay.
personal questions,
Okay.
just to give our audience a chance to get to know the personal side of you. We've talked a lot about the business side of you. So the
Absolutely.
first one I'm going to ask is, because you mentioned you took your staycation and you were eating your favorite meals. What is your favorite food or your favorite meal?
So I used to be a big Italian person. I'm
Ah,
not so much anymore. That's funny because my kids just asked me that last week. And I'm like,
ah,
I don't really know exactly what my favorite meal is. But I'm into like just fresh
ah,
food. So
yes.
the place that I went to last week, it's a place in Annapolis, Maryland called True Food Kitchen.
Okay,
And they have just fresh, like organic food. And I had a really awesome kale salad with grilled shrimp. And it was,
okay.
simple, but it was amazing. So I'm
Ah,
into kind of like the simple, flavorful, fresh
got it.
food.
Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
sounds very healthy. We have one of those restaurants here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's one
wonderful.
of my favorite places.
Okay, good. So let's see. What is your favorite childhood game?
Oh, let's see. What's my favorite childhood game? I used to like to play Trouble and Sorry. I
Oh,
don't know if
okay.
people still remember those
Yes, I
games,
do.
but those were like my family was big on board games,
Ah,
so we would play like a lot of board games. We would have
wonderful.
family game nights and stuff like that, and of course,
Oh,
the classic Monopoly that you play forever. But
yes, never ends. It
yeah,
goes on and on.
yeah, even now, like I try to introduce my kids, I got them Connect Four, the Game
Uh-huh.
of Life,
Yes.
the classic Monopoly. So we were a big board game family growing
Right.
up. So definitely was into the board games.
Good. That's nice. Wonderful. Okay, the next question. What is either your favorite place to travel to or your dream place to travel to?
Yes, my dream place to travel to, I would love to go to the Maldives.
Ah,
I'm a blue water beach person.
yes.
So it just looks like it's a beautiful, amazing place. Between there and Fiji, those are my
Got
two
you.
top 2 places that I would love to
Yeah.
go to.
Very dreamy. They look very dreamy.
Mhm, mhm. Hopefully, they're as nice as they look, but I've,
Yes.
seen a couple people who I know who've gone there and seen pictures, and it does look just as nice, as you
Wonderful.
see in the brochure. So I'm hoping to be
Yeah.
able to get to one of those 2 places someday soon.
Okay. Beautiful. Okay, and our last question, or if you're either a reader or a moviegoer, what has been the latest good book you've read or the latest good movie you've seen?
So I'm both. I do books and movies. The latest book that I've read has actually been by Marshawn Evans Daniels, Believe Bigger.
Ah,
So yeah, that's been the latest book that I've read. And then the Woman Evolved by Sarah Jakes Roberts.
okay.
Yes, I've been reading a little more nonfiction books lately, more spiritual focused. And that goes back to, how do I take care of my spiritual well-being as well. And so doing
Yes.
some of those devotionals and readings, I would say, are what are helping me out also.
Got you. I'm with you there. I do a lot of
Yeah,
that too.
movies, I can't remember the last great movie that I saw, to be honest.
Okay. Well, do you have a favorite movie? An old favorite?
Oh, my favorite movie is Coming to America.
I knew you were
That's
going to
my
say that.
all-time favorite.
Yes, one of a kind, one of a kind.
Absolutely, absolutely. That
Thank you.
that one, comical, romance, all in one. So,
Exactly. It
yes,
has
that's one of
every
my favorite movies.
has it takes you through all the emotions. So
Absolutely, absolutely, and not the reboot, the original.
exactly. The first. So
Yes,
Taisha, we want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule, your busy schedule with all the hats you wear, to
not a
spend some
problem.
time with us and to share with our listeners your entrepreneur journey, your wisdoms, your insight, and absolutely inspiration. So, what
Thank
we
you.
definitely want to do is we want to wish you peace, blessings. We hope your biggest dreams come true and that you have the capacity to receive them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And it was so nice to be able to chat with you today, Lynette. So thank you for having me as well.
You're very welcome. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Okay.